What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some more Dragon Ball FighterZ for y'all. So he's finally here, the newest addition, the second to last character in season 3. This is the oddly named for me Super Baby 2 from Dragon Ball GT. I didn't really watch Dragon Ball GT, but the character's design is pretty interesting. I've been playing him basically since he released on USPSN at around midnight. If you can't tell, my light is on. It's pretty late right now, but I wanted to get this ready as soon as possible so that when you guys wake up, you would have some Super Baby things to check out, his move properties, a couple of basic combos, some things I noticed. And of course, if you like all the guides, match analysis, and everything else I put out, definitely consider liking this video or subscribing to the channel if you already have not. It does help the channel grow. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm gonna have everything on for this one because it's an overview for this character. I want to start with his normals first. So first I want to talk about his 2L. So he has a pretty standard 2L, except for the fact that it's 11 frames. This number is pretty special. For light block stun, the most amount of block stun it has is 11 frames, so this makes it so that you can have this be airtight. Now the chained version of this is actually a 7 frame low, but also this has like a decent amount of range because he slides forward. This range thing on his normals is going to be a really common pattern you're going to see throughout his whole move list, by the way. So here is his jab. So it travels a little bit. It's 6 frames, -8 with light block stun. So for example, that does not jail. There's a gap there. And he cannot do 2 unless you're in clash, of course. And he has this follow-up for his auto combo that is 10 frames. The third hit is a throw. We've seen many of these. Zamasu has one, Broly has one, Vegito has one, and you can use it in the exact same way if you learn how to set it up. Things like Trunks Change of Future Assist will set this up very easily. Now the other thing I want to mention about his 5LL is that, like, again, there's this theme of he moves when he does normals, but this one is a little bit deceiving. So the total duration is pretty short compared to a lot of other characters' auto combos, but it also doesn't reach as far as you think it should, which is kind of weird. So next, 2M. So he has, actually, it looks like Vegeta's 2M, except he's a way bigger homie. This move is 13 frames. If you don't know what that means, it means you can't do lights into this move and have it be airtight, as I mentioned before. So out of his early options, you basically have to do that as a string all the time if you want it to jail. Then we have 5M. So this normal has a couple of interesting uses. So it's -1 and it travels really far. It's 17 frames though. None of his ground moves jail into this move. That being said though, it is 17 frames, so if you're someone who thinks you can react to that, then good job. Your opponent basically has to mash in order to reflect this, and this move is amazing for staggers because it's -1. So next is his 2H. So this is his normal anti-air. He kind of does a tiger knee like Sagat. This move, he has nice air options, so it's okay. He has things like the dive and his J2L. You can actually make the J2L airtight in the corner, and you have like typical sparking stuff, like you can air dash after. So then we have 5H. So 5H is another move that travels quite far. It goes basically more than full screen, but it's similar to 5LL in that it's not as big as you think it is. So even when you dash, you don't actually like hit them. Even like at this range, you won't actually like get him. It's kind of hard to judge. Like you have to be closer than you feel like, despite it looking like he travels really far. So here's another example of it whiffing in a spot where you sort of feel like it's gonna hit. Just keep that in mind. So next move is 6H. So I discussed this a little bit when they showed off the character the other day. This move's been getting memed kind of because it's really easy to tag off this, and you have a ton of advantage. And it seems like there's some things you can do in block strings with it, but I don't know how solid / stable they are. Here's an example of why this move is getting memed so hard. So this is of course a super basic example, but the whole point is you still keep your smash, so you could do all sorts of stuff, all sorts of interesting tag combos with this that guarantee put them in the corner anywhere on the screen. Now the thing about this too is that all the hits, as you can see, have pretty large gaps in between them, so it's kind of hard to fill this up, but if you can get to the end, that you get safe tags on block, and it's very highly advantageous. So setting everything to guard only for a really simple example, you see he just keeps going. So it's similar to like Yamcha's full auto combo, but his is way longer. Now let's look at some of his ki blasts. So the first one I want to look at is actually his 2S. So he has multiple ways of aiming this. He has the 1S, 2S, and 3S. So that's down, back, down, and down, forward. If you do down, back, then it covers him. If you do down, it goes to the middle of the screen. If you do down, forward, it goes full screen. So it is a ki blast, so the opponent can reflect it, but it's not like SSJ Vegeta's assist, for example. Like, if you're choosing to reflect, you're trying to reflect the thing after it. It makes for really good guessing games. There's also quite a bit of frame advantage, like plus 32, which is pretty good. I'm definitely seeing this not just in combos and neutral, but also for setups on knockdown. In addition to that as well, it's pretty good for fighting runaway. So in this example, Baby's in the corner, right? So here, the ki blast chase him. It's a really nice way to kind of hedge your bet. Mid-screen, you could do something similar, but they can kind of get away from the 3S. Now next, we're going to talk about his 5S. So his 5S is pretty interesting. So he fires multiple ki blasts with one button press. This has a bunch of implications. Now the main thing about it though is if any of these ki blasts whiff, then they will return. And they have some slight tracking on them as well. Now, while this might sound really strong, conceptually, the issue is he can't cancel until the third hit of his ki blast. So I'm mashing extra hard. I'm making sure you all can hear me mash really loud, right? I can't do anything. Not normal cancel, not special cancel. Which leads us into a little bit of a problem. Typically in Dragon Ball, when you're zoning with ki blasts, one of the really early things you learn is you don't really want to fire a lot of ki blasts when you're trying to zone your opponent. So quickly swapping out Gotenks, if we fire like 1 or 2, we can try to hit the incoming super dash. Now the thing is, Baby can't really do this. So here we're trying the same thing. My 2H is not going to work. Okay. So he does have a frame 1 anti-air, which is this, which I'm actually going to talk about later. But in this context, since you can't cancel until the last hit, it's actually pretty difficult to do. Here actually, even level 3 can be kind of difficult to hit. And that weird interaction can happen very often. This also happens in the air. So it's actually pretty hard to use this 5S alone unless they're really respecting you. If you have an assist to cover you or something, it's fine. Something along these lines is perfectly okay. Another thing that kind of plays into this as well is you might not necessarily want them to be lined up with you. So what do I mean by this? Consider this type of opponent. Now here against an airborne opponent, the thought is different because we're whiffing the ki blast. So it comes back. In this example, we get that instead. So this move doesn't work the way you think it would at a glance or if you are treating him like a core Dragon Ball character. Which actually leads us into our next move, 6S. So this is a ki blast that is pretty fast. It's a single hitting ki blast and it always returns. So this is, I think, going to be much more important for the zoning because it always comes back no matter what. Because it's a single hit, it is much easier to protect yourself with 214S or 2H. The return hit is also super plus on block as well. Even though it's a ki blast, it will definitely follow the same rules of that the opponent has to reflect what comes next. So air normals next. So we haven't had a JL like this for a while. It's a kind of swiping, it hits low under him. It's fast and it's relatively easy to hit super dash with. More notable, I think, is his JM. So at a glance, it looks pretty normal. It might remind you of Android 16s, but the big thing about it is that even at point blank, you can always cross up. Well, you can always cross up. Even I'm human, I'll miss up IEDs every now and then. Other characters rely on tricks to kind of get this, so I had to jump back and then air dash forward to get that with Roshi. Or I have to be at a pretty precise position so I can get J4M with him. But with Baby, I can kind of just IED and do it. It's also large enough that he can act like 21 and just do JM after super dashes. So the next normal is kind of weird, his JH. So it is kind of similar to Piccolo's, but I don't think Piccolo's is jump cancelable normally like that. Unlike most jump heavies in the game, which force you crouching, his pops you up. I think it's the only one that's like this in the game, and it's a pretty important combo part. His J2H is the horizontal type. He kind of pushes backwards like this. And here's his dive kick. So he has a J2L, just like Vegeta. Now this move is safe on block, and he has air options. So this also is your general sliding knockdown, as well as a way for you to get from the air to the ground. And last, his JS. So it works pretty similar to his 5S and has the same issue, I guess I would say, where you can't cancel until the last hit. So if you actually try the little super dash exercise I mentioned before, it's a little hard to jump back and hit the super dash. As you saw, I definitely pressed the button when he came at me. I could not cancel. I feel like personally, the closer you are, the easier time you have with hitting him. But personally, I've found it pretty difficult to do. And just like his 5S, interactions can get pretty funky with this move. So special moves. So first, his 2-on-4. I love this type of move in this game. It's an anti-air grab. Of course, you guys all know I really hate jumping. This catches jump straight up. It doesn't have any real special properties besides it just beats jump-ins. It doesn't have armor or anything. So it ends up working kind of the way you would expect it to if you don't use it the right way. If I do this just a pinch late, that will happen. So you just gotta make sure you're woke. And similarly, in the air, you can get hit out of it if you do it too late. Unlike our good friend, Broly. The other important thing to know is that it does switch sides, and it's a sliding knockdown as well. Next is the 236 series. This is a pretty interesting move. This is his special move, Lariat. He goes pretty far, pretty fast, slams the ground. Now, the M and EX versions hit from around here, but the EX version is around 19 frames at max range, making it pretty much instant. It's a pretty hard move to deal with. It is also available in the air as well. You can get over the opponent, and you can use it similarly to characters like Goku Black and Cell. So what I mean, for example, you can just go over them and call an assist on the ground, or you can call your neutral assist and just kind of be in. So for those times where you want to not play defensively, you have that move in addition to some of your other normals like 5M to approach. So he has a beam as well, 2-3 success, so it's a pretty slow beam, but it's safe on block, and he goes airborne as well. Outside of varying his neutral, you can use it in combos, and I'll show an example later. So here's his 2-on-4S. We talked about this before. The Ki Blast always come back. It's also frame 1 head invincible, so it beats Super Dash, and the Ki Blast always come back. So outside of defensive usage in neutral, people are using this in combos already to loop. And the last move to talk about is his assist steal, his 2-2 series. So the L version takes the A assist, the M version takes the B assist, and the EX version takes the C assist. An important point here is actually that he does not have to be the character who kills the character to get the assist. As you can see here, I just have it. And he will also take whoever is the most recent character to die assist. So he doesn't get both characters assist at the same time. He just gets whoever died most recently. This has all sorts of uses because you're getting a character's assist in all three. But at least my prediction is, so far in this game, we've had characters like Android 21 and Captain Ginyu where people are like, oh, you have to change what you do depending on the character. So Android 21, of course, he has the character specific steals, the 4 groups, and Captain Ginyu, of course, is body swap. He can swap one character on the opponent's team with himself. Those things haven't affected the game the way we really thought it did. So I feel similarly about this. So at this point, every character has 3 assists, and there are around like 7 or 8 types of assists. So I feel like you're basically going to be using the main assist that people have. There'll be combo stuff as well. I feel like definitely the strongest thing about this is that you'll get C assist combo extensions for half a bar. Outside of that thing though, I feel like it just turns him into a mini Ginyu. And since there's not that many types of assists anyway, you're not going to be really that mixed up or confused or have to like really memorize everything about all the characters. But I am looking forward to seeing what people do with this. Probably the main thing you'll see as far as really specific stuff is for characters that are played really commonly. So characters like UI, like Broly, I feel like you'll see a lot of really unique things because people play them so much, as opposed to characters that are pretty uncommon like Android 17 and Jiren. People might be just relying on the EX version of the move for assist extensions. So let's look at super. So his DHC super, aka his Z change super, is a fast one. So there are applications like this. As mentioned before, he does have an air level 3, but it won't always conveniently work the way you want it to, so be careful. Now his other level 3 is pretty interesting. So here, that was a safe jump that I did. So if you don't know what a safe jump is, it's a tactic we use to stop people from pressing basically anything when they get up, unless it's something like reflect. Now the thing is, his other level 3, is a guard point like Roshi. So you can catch people's safe jumps. I think if you do like a perfect one similarly to Roshi, you can safe jump this, but just be careful when you're fighting against him. Now the other thing too is that it is indeed like Chaozu. You cannot special cancel it into it at all. There are already examples of people doing solo extensions into this because again, he has moves where the Ki Blast comes back, so you can combo into Dragon Rush generally without an assist. I'm gonna keep it real, I didn't learn any of those combos yet because they look kind of complicated. I need a couple of days to learn some of these combos. I'm not really good at learning combos. I think you guys already know that though. So here's a mid-screen combo that I learned. So here we're using the JS property to extend combos on his own. If you've been browsing Twitter, you'll see a ton of these and way more complex combos than this. It's just a very basic, hey, I want to start him and just start playing matches and see what he could do combo. Here's an example of a corner combo you can do. This combo is kind of tricky to learn, so if you can't do that, then I recommend this. A little less damage, but it's much easier to do. So next, let's take a quick look at his assist. So his A assist is the same as his 5S, plus 32, Ki Blast, same thing. So it is a multi-hitting Ki Blast, so you can reflect it, and you're plus 20 on reflect, so still pretty good. And similarly to his normal 5S, if any of the hits with, it will come back with some tracking from behind. So this is a rare example of an assist that it's okay to miss. In my head, it might be like Piccolo A, sort of, where when you do it, neutral's kind of just over. Now his B assist is this Suedo C assist style dive. It's quite slow, it has a lot of block stun, and it tracks. The applications are quite straightforward, to be honest. And generally, when you get it to hit from really far, you can confirm it pretty easily. His C assist is his beam. We're pretty familiar with this. It's a pinch slower than other C assists, but it does hit a little bit higher. So finally, where does he go on a team? I don't really know, to be honest. So he has good support value in that he has a C beam, he has a tracking assist as well, and he has that Ki Blast assist that you can whiff, but then the projectiles come back, so it's pretty strong. But then his actual neutral tools are pretty good too. But then on top of that, he gets stronger when the opponent loses a character. So he gets the same buff on his level 3 as GT on the Monkey level 3, where it does more damage. And of course, you get the assists as well. So right now, it's kind of up in the air. It doesn't seem like there is a straightforward, this is where he belongs on a team yet. As usual, if you guys have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment section below. By the time this video goes up, I'm probably going to be streaming, to be honest, so head over there if you feel like it. I'm going to be trying to learn some more advanced combos of him and stuff. Today, I definitely have been spending time just looking at his move properties and trying to come up with some basic strategies and figure out what to do with him on a team. As you guys all know, I try every DLC character for like minimum 3 days, maximum a week, unless I'm thinking about playing him. And he's got some pretty interesting things going on for him that I want to talk about in the follow-up videos. But first, we have to actually learn him. And again, like this video or subscribe if you feel like it. And I will see you next time. Peace out.